Soaring inflation is acceptable. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee because I want to look at this Yahoo article where the RBA is saying, overshooting their inflation target. It's acceptable. Don't worry, guys. Sure, your petrol costs more. Sure, your food costs more. Don't worry, as they sit on their $1 million yearly salary. Yeah. Anyway, let's have a look at this, guys. So the RBA sees inflation overshooting target as an acceptable risk. The more and more you start to follow the financial news and just to see repeatedly the failed attempts at the Reserve Bank to make forecasts and to manage the economy, makes you think they're followers and not leaders in this process. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's why I rushed to lock in my low, I think I got 1.99% on my mortgage. I rushed to get it because I don't think we're ever going to see those rates again in our lifetime. We'll probably be dead by the time they see it. Maybe our kids will get to see that. Reserve Bank Governor Philip Lowe said he's prepared to tolerate inflation above the upper end of his 2 to 3% target range, reinforcing signals that Australia's first interest rate increase remains some way off. The approach that we are running at the moment, waiting for the evidence, does run the risk that inflation will be above 3% for a period of time, and that risk is acceptable, Lowe said in response to questions from a parliamentary panel on Friday. We think running that risk is an appropriate thing to do. The remarks indicate the governor is sticking to his dovish stance, in contrast with counterparts from the Federal Reserve and the Bank of England. The bond market responded by retracing some of its yield gains. 10-year Australian government security gave back more than half of an early advance that had been fueled by soaring US inflation. Yet Lowe also kept his options open by reiterating during his semi-annual testimony that a rate rise is plausible later this year in the event wages growth and inflation accelerate further. He spoke after US inflation spiked 7.5% in January, intensifying pressure on the Fed to undertake a supersized rate increase at next month's meeting. In contrast, Australian core inflation only recently reached the 2.5% midpoint of the RBA's target for the first time in 7 years. Lowe indicated that one more strong inflation report wouldn't be sufficient to alter his rate view, saying another couple would be good to see. So it looks like we're going to be stuck with inflation for some time. The governor reiterated the RBA's decision to stay patient on policy is part of an effort to test how far it can drive down the jobless rate, currently at 4.2%, before sparking rapid wages growth. The bank now estimates the rate that would trigger quicker pay gains is likely to be around low 4 to high 3%. Low remains ice cool, said Prashant Naha, senior rate strategist at TD Securities in Singapore. The clear message from the RBA governor is that the bank is in no pressing rush to normalize the cash rate. Rate hikes are now less of a first half 2022 proposition. Even so, economists and markets remain skeptical of Lowe's assessment that a jobless rate below 4% will take longer to trigger faster wages growth. Most expect the RBA will again be surprised by the economy's strength and forecast rates to begin rising in just a few months' time. Where the inflation debate will heat up is how long the RBA will tolerate inflation above 3%, said Belinda Allen, a senior economist at Commonwealth Bank of Australia, which predicts an August rate liftoff. Lowe's readiness to risk an overshoot is important for the outlook for the timing of interest rate rises, she said. The message around this is the board is prepared to be patient, more so than countries with higher inflation. Unlike on rates, the RBA has taken global cues in deciding to wrap up its quantitative easing program in response to its strengthening economy. But the governor has said repeatedly that ceasing bond purchases doesn't imply a tightening of monetary policy. Lowe says the RBA will decide in May whether to reinvest the proceeds of maturing bonds. He said that it's not a pressing issue for Australia when compared with, say, the US, where maturities come up every month. The rolling off our balance sheet is very slow this year, he told lawmakers. So there's something we'll have to focus on more next year when there are large maturities. The central bank is undertaking a review of its unconventional policies and will release the findings later this year. We'll certainly have to look at that. So let's have a bit of a talk about this one, guys. So an acceptable risk of inflation above 3%. So we could be sitting with this rate of inflation for some time. Could be for some time, everyone. And that's going to add up. 3.5% plus 3.5% plus 3.5%. Boom. Suddenly that $100 tank of petrol is getting a little bit more expensive. And you're starting to notice it. You're starting to harp back for the days of when beef, a steak only cost you $40. Oh, boy. Well, guys, are you ready? Are you prepared? How are some of the safety assets going? Gold is going a little bit better. Bitcoin is right up to the moon, but it's so volatile. And what about property? And if the real issue is, if the RBA holds off on increasing interest rates, the Australian dollar goes down, our cost of consumer goods go up, that's going to affect inflation even more. What do you reckon? It's one to keep an eye on, guys, one to be prepared for it. And I would suggest you look at your financial situation and budget, particularly for your mortgage payments going up. And we're noticing our cost of living going up. It is. So maybe we all need to get our fasting practice in to cut down those meals, just eat 5 days a week, have 2 days off. I know some people do that. That's probably not a bad idea, guys. That's 2 days less food you need, and you can save some money that way. Remember, all the fat we have on our body, guys, that's an emergency fund just waiting to be used. And a lot of Australians have a hell of a lot of emergency fund. Completely off topic. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. If you want to support the channel, there are a few ways you can support us. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. Sign up for SelfWealth or Stake. With SelfWealth, we each get 5 free share trades, guys, and that really helps me out with my pocket money investing. You can also support us by buying our merch, using our affiliate links from Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or good old AussieBroadband, everyone. So I want you to check out this last video, guys, and I'm just bringing it up here, about, lockdowns doing more harm than good. The research is out. That's what led us into all this mess. Take care. I'll see you next time.